Simon Magus. Known as Simon the Magician, Simon Magus briefly appears in Acts chapter 8 verses 9 to 24 as a magician from Samaria who converts to Christianity after encountering the apostles Peter and Philip. Simon's fascination with the spiritual gifts demonstrated by the apostles leads him to offer money to learn how to pass these abilities to others. This brash act of attempting to buy divine power earns him a scathing rebuke, birthing the term simony for the sin of selling religious offices or privileges. Despite his conversion, Simon's motives seem questionable, with apocryphal texts suggesting he pursued fame and profit under the guise of faith. He allegedly performed miracles like levitation and even claimed to rival Jesus as a messianic figure. Some consider Simon to be a forerunner of Gnostic teachings, blending mysticism and Christian symbolism. His legacy is a cautionary tale about exploiting spirituality for personal gain. His name endures as a symbol of religious exploitation and misguided ambition. Melchizedek. Melchizedek, the enigmatic priest-king of Salem, is a figure shrouded in mystery and theological significance. Mentioned briefly in Genesis and Psalm 110, he is later elaborated upon in the New Testament, particularly in Hebrews. He is described as a priest without genealogy, beginning or end, qualities that have led some to view him as a Christ-like figure, or even an incarnation of Christ. Abraham's act of giving Melchizedek a tithe further highlights his importance, as it positions him above even the patriarchs. Apocryphal texts like the second book of Enoch add to his mystique, describing a miraculous virgin birth and his protection during the Great Flood. His role has intrigued scholars, inspiring interpretations that link him to Gnosticism, Freemasonry, and Mormon theology. Some see him as a divine archetype, others consider him a mere symbol of an eternal priesthood. Regardless, Melchizedek remains one of the most debated figures in biblical history. James the Just. James the Just, often identified as Jesus' brother or half-brother, played a significant role in the early Christian church. As the head of the church in Jerusalem, he was a key figure in resolving doctrinal disputes, consulting with apostles like Paul and Peter. Though not part of Jesus' inner circle during his ministry, James became a central leader after Jesus' death, earning the respect of early Christians. Paul referred to him as a pillar of the faith, but later disagreed with him on certain theological points. Some scholars debate whether James was Jesus' biological sibling, citing traditions of Mary's perpetual virginity and suggesting he may have been a cousin or spiritual brother. Apocryphal texts credit James with wisdom and a deep connection to Christ's teachings. His martyrdom further solidified his legacy as a steadfast defender of the faith. His contributions continue to influence Christian thought and tradition. Onan. Onan, the son of Judah, is infamous for his brief and scandalous appearance in Genesis 38. After his brother Er dies, Onan is expected to marry Er's widow Tamar and produce offspring to continue the family line. However, he deliberately avoids fulfilling this duty, spilling his seed instead, angering God, who subsequently strikes him dead. This act gave rise to the term onanism, often used to describe certain sexual practices. Some interpret Onan's sin as disobedience, while others see it as a broader condemnation of contraception. The story doesn't end there. Tamar later disguises herself and seduces Judah, securing her place in the lineage of Christ. Onan's tale underscores the complexity of ancient customs and their theological implications. His actions and their consequences continue to spark debates on morality, sexuality, and duty within religious contexts. Simon the Zealot. Among Jesus' 12 disciples, Simon the Zealot remains one of the most mysterious. His title has led some to speculate that he was part of the Zealot movement, a revolutionary group opposing Roman rule. However, this movement arose after Simon's time, making it more likely that his zeal referred to his fervent spiritual devotion rather than political activism. Eastern Orthodox traditions suggest Simon's spiritual journey began when Jesus turned water into wine at Simon's wedding. Despite being a disciple, little is known about his life or ministry after Christ's resurrection. Some legends claim he was martyred by being sawed in half, but details vary across traditions. Catholic sources speculate he may have been related to Jesus, though evidence is scarce. Simon's obscurity leaves his story open to interpretation, making him a symbol of unwavering dedication. Cain's wife. The mystery of Cain's wife has puzzled readers of Genesis for centuries. After murdering his brother Abel, Cain is marked by God and sent to wander, eventually settling in the land of Nod, where he takes a wife. But who was she? The Bible doesn't specify, leading to various theories including the possibility of other created beings, or that Cain married one of Adam and Eve's many unnamed daughters. The apocryphal Book of Jubilees identifies her as Onan, Cain's sister. The story underscores the close-knit familial relationships necessary to populate the early earth. However, this detail has also raised questions about the origins of humanity and the implications of early incestuous unions. Cain's wife, though unnamed in the canonical Bible, represents the gaps in Scripture that continue to fuel theological curiosity and debate. Joseph Barsabbas. Joseph Barsabbas, also called Justus, was a contender to replace Judas Iscariot as one of the 12 apostles. Despite being passed over in favor of Matthias, Joseph's mention highlights the broader group of devoted followers of Jesus beyond the 12. Little is known about him, though some speculate he may have been a relative of Jesus or an alias for another figure like James the Just. His story is a reminder of the many unnamed or little-known figures who played crucial roles in the early Christian community. Apocryphal traditions suggest Joseph continued spreading the gospel, though evidence is sparse. His near selection as an apostle underscores the communal aspect of early Christianity and the importance of divine selection. Joseph Barsabbas represents the countless faithful whose contributions often go unnoticed. His obscurity contrasts with the prominence of the apostles, offering a broader view of discipleship, the beloved disciple. The identity of the disciple whom Jesus loved, frequently mentioned in the Gospel of John, has long been a topic of speculation. While traditionally thought to be John the Apostle, other candidates include Lazarus, Mary Magdalene, and even an unnamed Roman official. This figure is present at key moments, including the Last Supper and the crucifixion, and is said to provide the testimony for the Gospel of John. Some interpretations suggest the beloved disciple is meant to represent all believers, inviting readers to see themselves in the narrative. Others see this figure as a symbol of intimate spiritual connection with Christ. The ambiguity adds depth to the gospel, allowing for diverse theological reflections. Whether an actual person or a literary device, the beloved disciple embodies the ideal of deep, personal faith. This figure remains a source of inspiration and mystery. Og, the king of Bashan, is a lesser-known but formidable figure in the Old Testament. Described as a giant of the Rephaim, he ruled a region conquered by the Israelites during their journey to the Promised Land. His enormous iron bed is noted in Deuteronomy, symbolizing his strength and stature. Og's defeat by Moses and the Israelites is seen as a testament to God's power over even the mightiest enemies. Some traditions link Og to pre-flood giants like the Nephilim, adding a mythical dimension to his character. Jewish legends portray him as a survivor of the flood, clinging to Noah's Ark. Og's story illustrates the theme of divine triumph over human arrogance. Despite his brief appearances, Og's legacy looms large in biblical lore as a symbol of strength subdued by faith. Nicodemus, a Pharisee and member of the Sanhedrin, appears in the Gospel of John as a secret follower of Jesus. His first encounter with Christ involves a theological discussion that introduces the concept of being born again. Nicodemus later defends Jesus during a council meeting and assists in his burial, indicating his growing faith. Despite his importance, little else is known about Nicodemus, leaving scholars to speculate about his role in the early Christian movement. Some suggest he was Nicodemus Ben Gurion, a wealthy figure mentioned in the Talmud. Christian tradition venerates him as a saint and martyr, reflecting his devotion to Christ. His dialogue with Jesus, particularly John 3 verse 16, is one of the most quoted passages in Christianity. Nicodemus's journey from skepticism to belief makes him a compelling figure of spiritual transformation. By the way, it took this channel around 4 months to get monetized naturally. You can do it too, or possibly even quicker within 30 days, if you have the right plan. Find out more in the description or pinned comment. If you enjoyed uncovering the mysteries of these characters, don't miss our next video, Top 10 Mysteries of the Bible. From unexplained events to cryptic passages, we'll dive even deeper into the Bible's most puzzling questions. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it.